Okay, so picture this. We're in the heart of Paris, right? At the Élysée Palace.
Not Versailles, you mean?
Exactly. Not
Yeah.
quite as flashy, right?
Mm-mm.
But trust me, it's got history oozing out of the walls. And just recently, it played host to someone pretty important.
Let me guess. Royalty.
You got it. King Norodom Sihamoni of Cambodia himself.
Wow. Okay, so this wasn't just a casual drop-in. The Cambodian monarchy, it's not just some figurehead. It's like deeply woven into the country's identity, like a direct link back to their history and traditions.
Yeah, it's a big deal when he traveled.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there to just sip tea and eat croissants. It was for the 19th Francophonie Summit.
Ah, right, of course.
Basically, it's like a big gathering of nations all connected by one thing, the French language.
Which, and maybe this is obvious, but it takes us right back to Cambodia's past. Being part of French Indochina, that's a legacy that still has it's complicated.
Totally. So we've got the king in Paris,
Yeah.
arrives at the Élysée, and the Khmer texts we're looking at, they don't describe some quick handshake, think full-on official welcome ceremony.
The whole shebang.
Totally meticulously planned, a real show of respect.
And I'm guessing it wasn't just like an intern showing him around.
Nope. President Macron himself,
Hmm.
making a statement about how important this relationship is to France. So, just to be clear, this wasn't just a quick how you doing between heads of state.
Absolutely not. This
Okay.
was diplomacy in action. And the theme of the summit itself kind of gives us a clue, right? Creation, innovation, and entrepreneurship in the French language. It's not just about dusty old dictionaries.
Yeah, it's like France is trying to keep it fresh, make French relevant,
Yeah.
especially with all the tech and business stuff happening these days, trying to appeal to a younger generation.
It's like they're saying French isn't just for, fancy literature anymore.
Totally. And get this, when King Sihamoni spoke at the summit, he made a point of thanking France for its support. And not just for the language in Cambodia, but for Cambodian culture as a whole.
Interesting. It's kind of acknowledging that their history is tangled up, but they're
Wow.
trying to look ahead together.
Exactly. So how does that work? It's not like France is just handing out French dictionaries and calling it a day.
Oh, no. They've been involved with a bunch of cultural projects in Cambodia, like restoring those incredible Khmer temples.
Oh, yeah, those are amazing. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Super important to Cambodian culture. And France has been right there lending a hand. But it's not just about the past either. They've been supporting new artists, too, helping them get recognition internationally.
So all of this, what's the big picture? What's the end game here?
Well, for Cambodia, think of it like making connections, strong ties with France, and by extension, the whole French-speaking world. It opens up a lot of possibility.
Like a backstage pass.
Exactly. And King Sihamoni made a point of mentioning this. Cambodia is becoming more and more involved with the International Organization of La Francophonie, the OIF.
Okay, I'll admit I had to do a little Googling on that one. What's the deal with the OIF? Why should our listeners care?
Okay, so picture this. It's like a club. But for countries, all the cool kids who speak French, they work together, tackle problems, and use what we call, and I know this sounds kind of vague, but soft power, like cultural diplomacy.
So it's not all about trade deals and stuff like that?
Well, there's that too, but it's more about building bridges,
Yeah.
right? Understanding each other, a different approach to dealing with other countries.
Right, makes sense. So Cambodia is stepping onto a bigger stage now, using their history and culture to play a bigger role in the world. But, and this is the tricky part, how do you balance all that? Honoring their ancient culture and still moving forward in the 21st century. It's a tough thing to pull off.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like, how do you embrace the future without losing sight of where you came from, And this whole thing, it really makes you think. We talk about international relations, right? And it's all about treaties and who's got the bigger stick.
Right, the hard power stuff.
But this, with Cambodia and France, it's different. More like,
It's that soft power thing again, isn't it? Sometimes sharing a language, a history, that can be more powerful than some big treaty, for sure. It's like different ways to get things done on the world stage. And for Cambodia, they've had a rough time. So being part of something like the OIF, that's got to be a good move for them.
absolutely. It gives them a voice, a seat at the table with other countries. They can actually shape things, fight for what they believe in.
Okay, so as we wrap up our little deep dive here, King's trip to the Francophonie Summit. What's the one thing you want listeners to remember about all this?
Don't underestimate language and culture. Like, seriously, they can help us understand each other, build something together. The world feels pretty messed up right now, right?
Totally.
But this gives me hope,
Me too. It reminds me that we don't always have to solve things with fighting or money. Sometimes it's about shared stories, shared values, finding a language we all understand.